Shalini from the Department of Biotechnology, AWS College of Arts and Science. Here we are going to discuss about the bioreactor. It is an vessel which is used for the chemical process that is carried out with the help of organism or biochemically active substance that is derived from microorganisms. The bioreactor, which involves mainly two processes, one is aerobic bioreactor and another one is anaerobic bioreactor. This aerobic bioreactor, it needs aeration and agitation, that is proper mixing and oxygen supply. And anaerobic bioreactor, it do not need any aeration or agitation process. So the main function of your bioreactor, it is providing a suitable environment to grow an organism in an efficient manner that might be gives us a product which might be either the cell biomass, metabolite or the transformed product. Here the cell biomass that includes the group of cells which is grown inside, that is mass of cells which is grown inside the bioreactor. Here the metabolite in sense either the that is the end that is metabolic product of the organism, either it may be primary metabolites or and secondary metabolites, transformed product that might be coming under the recombinant DNA technology. So next, the performance of the bioreactors depends mainly on aeration, oxygen transfer, temperature, foam and pH. Here the agitation, this agitation will give proper mixing of media which is present, that is substrate growth factor which is present inside the bioreactor. Here bioreactor should have the following qualities for the successful fermentation process. The vessel which is capable of being operated. Here the bioreactor which is termed as vessel that might be operated only under the aseptic condition for a number of days, and there might be no contaminations inside the room, which is where the bioreactor or the fermenter is present. Adequate aeration and agitation should be provided for the better growth of microorganisms. So here the power consumption, here the fermenter or the bioreactor which will consume power. So while we are choosing the bioreactor, during that time itself we should know it should consume less power. And then temperature control and pH. The temperature and the pH which is given for the growth of microorganism, it should be optimum for that organism. It should not be either increased or decreased. So next, sampling facilities. While we are choosing the bioreactor, sampling facilities should be noted. Next, evaporation losses. During fermentation process, some of the nutrient which is present inside the fermentation tank, it might be evaporated. So we should avoid such things. Minimal use of labor. While we are choosing the fermentation tank or the bioreactor or the fermentation process where we are going to prepare commercially an enzyme, antibiotic or an acids, we should note that fermentation process should minimize the usage of labor, which might be helpful for cost cutting. Next, should have the internal smooth surface. The bioreactor which is chosen by us should have internal smooth surface, because the organism which is growing inside the bioreactor, it should be attached to the walls of the bioreactor. If it is rough, its growth might be disturbed. So the smooth surface of the bioreactor should be chosen. Next, contaminants. While the fermentation process is carried out, we should know that the chamber or the hull, it might be in aseptic condition, so which will give us successful fermentation. If the contamination occurs, we cannot do a successful fermentation process. So aseptic operation, that will kill the contamination. And so the basic design of the fermenter, it should here the basic design, it has a vessel, aeration, agitation control. Next, control and monitoring process. Here this control and monitoring process, when we are going for industrial purpose, it should be it will be computerized. So we can note there in the system whether the pH it is correct in optimum pH is maintained inside the bioreactor or not. Here the dissolved oxygen concentration might be noted, and pressure and foam. So aeration and agitation, it will give proper growth of cell. Next, the glass material. While we are designing a fermenter, we should note that it might be either glass material or an stainless steel material. So there are two types of fermenters are used. One is small scale fermenters, that is glass or stainless steel might be used. Next one, large scale containers, it might be borosilicate, that is glass material, that is borosilicate material can be used. They can be sterilized by autoclaving. So when we are going for aseptic condition, that these bioreactors can be sterilized with the help of autoclaving technique. So vessels, when we are choosing glass vessels, that might be very helpful by giving smooth surface and non-toxic. It will not be toxic for the organism which is growing inside our fermenter, and corrosive proof. It should not be corrose our surface of the glass material. The organism might corrode, or the agents which is used inside the fermenter, it might corrode our glass vessels. So we should avoid that. For that we can choose glass material. So glass cylinders, either stainless steel top or bottom can be used. Vessels with the two stainless steel plates are used. These glass vessels are more expensive when compared with the stainless steel. It is sterilized with the help of in situ technique. Then pilot scale and industrial scale stainless steel can be used. Next, aseptic seals, that is between glass and glass material, metal or metal material, joints between bioreactor. Here the detachable from the base plate. So this is the basic design of our bioreactor. Here the cold jackets will be present. If the temperature is not optimum to the organism, through this cold jacket we can add cold water and it will reduce the temperature which is present inside the bioreactor. So next, anti-foam. During aeration and agitation, foams will be produced here. Foams, it is nothing but NORAD. It will be produced, and to avoid that foams, we will be adding anti-foaming agents. Sterile nutrient, we can add nutrient inoculum through this when the organism is traveling of nutrient. Here the acid base, when the pH is not optimum, we can add either acid or base. Pressure gauge, through this pressure gauge we can notice the pressure which is maintained inside our bioreactor. pH prop, we can note the, we can identify the pH which is present inside our bioreactor. So temperature control, as I have said already, this temperature control, temperature and pH might be playing an important role in a fermentation process. Either the temperature should not be increased or decreased. So during aeration and agitation, some amount of heat will be produced inside our fermenter or the bioreactor. So to overcome that heat, this heat will interfere in the growth of microorganism. To overcome that heat, we will be adding cold surface or cooling water through the jackets which is present outer surface of your bioreactors. So aeration will give sufficient oxygen during your submerged fermentation, and it will give more metabolic requirements. So next, agitation, proper mixing of media will occur. This mixing will commonly distribute the nutrient to the microorganism which is present inside your media. So next, aeration, that is done by aerator, the agitator, that is done by impeller, and baffles will be present, and aeration system will be present there. So agitator, that will that is give we know that agitator will give proper mixing, that will transfer equal amount of oxygen and heat transfer, add pressure, suspension of solid particles, that is nutrient which is present inside the fermenter will be uniformly given to the organism. Next, baffles, that is incorporated between the walls of your fermenter tank. This will avoid attachment of microorganism to the walls of your bioreactor. So if the organism it is attached to your walls of fermenter, it will not grow properly and the product will be loosed. So we should avoid that deposition of your microorganism on the walls of your bioreactor. So while we are overcoming this, we can give a more efficient product. So baffles, while we are going for small scale, baffles can be 6 can be used. When we are going for large scale, 8 can be used. Minimize microbial growth on the walls of this. I have said already. Extra cooling coils might be added. While we are going for agitation, cooling coil, through that cooling coils we can add cooling water that might be reduce the heat which is produced inside the bioreactor. So here the baffles, agitator, blade, cooling coils, sparges will be present. Product outlet will be present, condensate outlet. See, this one is baffles. This will avoid you the deposition of microorganism, that is cell mass, it will avoid attachment of your cell mass to the walls of surface, that is walls of your bioreactor. Next, foam breaker. Next, coolant. This is the baffles in fermenter. So next, aeration system. Sparger is defined as the device which is used for the aeration process. It may be of three types. One is porous sparges, RC5 sparges, nozzle sparges, and combined sparges will be present. These are the types of sparges. See, sparges will be present at the bottom of your fermentation tank, that is bioreactor. Feeding port will be at the top. So through this inoculant, that is nutrient will be added during your process. Sampling can also be done through this. See here, addition of acid, that is acid or alkali, for the pH control, that is optimum pH will be maintained, either adding acid or alkali. Next, in large bioreactor, nutrient reservoir will be placed, that is internal part can be sterilized with the vessels. Foam control, that is anti-foaming agent will be added to control the foams. Thank you.